The 1990s to early 2000s were a phenomenal time to be online. I mean, let's be honest, when we think of the internet, we don't think of what we have now, but instead the idyllic past we left behind, of green hills and GeoCities shared with friends. But in that wonderful time of the birth of the internet, a lot of strange and rather dark things began to pop up as well, here and there. For the most part, these went unnoticed except for the few people that were intended to see them. And that's exactly what happened in the case of ecuerpos.com. A website for selling dead human parts and whole bodies. Wait, what? That's right, in the nearly 30 years since it first went online, this place has managed to stay out of sight, even in today's age of recycled content. So without further ado, ladies and gentlemen, let's dive. I am seldom surprised at this point on the internet, but this is one of those times that really got me. When sifting through the internet, researching to make a little stockpile for upcoming videos, I stumbled upon an old forum post from a car website that housed a dastardly little link. There were 3 of these forum posts that had discussed something really disturbing, and how these users were left unsettled by what they had found. Then the conversation just cuts off. 3 messages on an archaic forum are some of the only evidence that this website ever existed. When you hop on ecuerpos.com, you are immediately struck by its honesty and convenient layout. Although initially in Spanish, which I understand enough of to order a taco in, I was able to catch on pretty quickly to what was being offered here, because there are a series of 5 cartoon images on screen that reveal just about everything you need to know. We can see a hand, an arm, an eyeball, a pair of legs, and a body standing. Now, considering the prices are next to each of them, I can assume that these limbs are for sale, but before we go any further, let's toggle the gringo switch so I can actually read what's going on here. That's so much better. Alright, my first guess was correct. This site really is claiming that it sells body parts. However, joke websites were very common in this period, and I don't want to make any assumptions until we know more. So obviously, we need to dive a bit deeper. On the left-hand side of the screen, we can find a fast navigation tab directly linking you to each individual page for all of the items they sell. It offers us a wide selection of 12 different bits and bobs from the human body, so let's go from top to bottom. You can purchase any of the following items. Let's see if I can read these off in one take. Male hand, male fingers, male foot, male ear, male eyes, female forearm, female forequarter, female arm, female leg, female breasts, female skin, full body. Don't tempt me with a good time. Let's satisfy my male hand fetish and see what this is all about on this website. At first glance, the hand is just that, a hand on a blank white background, and it does nothing for us to disprove or prove the validity of this site. It just looks like a stock image. Honestly, when I first saw it, it kind of made me think this whole website was going to be fake, and I almost stopped researching here, but alas, I think it's worth us continuing. Moving on to the fingers, we are once again met with what seems to be a regular stock image edited onto a white background. But this photo is actually one of the best pieces of evidence that this site could be real. Something my girlfriend noticed when I showed this to her was that the fingers are positioned in a totally impossible manner. That impossible manner is that simultaneously they are all straightened and pointed in the same direction. Can you even come close to having them all lined up the way they are in the picture? No shot, because our thumbs are at an angle, and as long as they are attached to the rest of the hand, can't replicate the image on the site, which is why we came to the frightening conclusion that these may be a genuine set of severed human fingers being sold on this website. It's either that or the photo was edited, but if that's the case, whoever designed this website really thought this whole thing through, because the details and this level of dedication to make sure everything looks real, even the subtle details like that, is insane. And one of the main reasons I think this could be real is because the shadow work is done so well. I spent a lot of time in Photoshop, and to do that level of shadow work to make it look even on the hand is pretty incredible, and it really goes to show that something else might be going on here, but I can't verify that for sure. Continuing on throughout the other tabs, we are met with a bunch of empty boxes where the photos used to be of the items, but have now been lost to time as a result of data rot. Honestly, I am thankful for the ones we did get though, because they are incredibly incriminating. Scrolling down to the 7th option on the list, female forequarter, we find the following definitely not safe for YouTube image. It's essentially a cross-section chunk of a woman's upper trunk, including one breast, an arm, and part of her chest. Huh, now this is odd. Although we can't see the original background as it's been replaced and superimposed by this white one, it does feel like the body is laying down rather than standing up, because there's no sign of any movement like you might find if you were holding someone up or they were standing. And the first thing I thought when I saw this photo is that the person must be lying down on a gurney, you know, the little thing they wheel you around on in the hospital. Another alarming thing I noticed though is that the color seems to have left the skin of this person, leaving it paler than it otherwise would be. And this is a very typical sight in dead bodies because blood is reduced and no longer circulating, and the body is overall oxygen deprived. It's literally just decaying, and man, if they went to the effort to make this body look like that, that would be insane. So at this point, it's becoming more probable in my mind that these are real images, but we can get to the theories later. I'm getting ahead of myself. Disgustingly, the 10th option on this set of tabs is just buying a dead woman's breasts. The image is, as is now, thematic, not YouTube acceptable, and only slightly blurred, so I will apply my own as well. The most important reason for including this photo, though, is that I think it shows just how disgustingly these bodies are being treated and arranged. It's clearly laid down, and its arms have been stretched high above its head so that nothing is in the way, I guess, of what you're buying. And boy, no matter what you think of this website, contemplating how they acquired these photos and images is vile. For the most convincing part of evidence, though, let's skip over this and let's head to the final tab in the fast navigation panel, that simply being full body. I don't know why, but when I first clicked on this, I sort of expected a cartoon body like the one on the home page, and a little note congratulating us for making it this far and revealing it's all just been a bit. It's a hoax. But no. Nah, nopers, it's actually a full dead human female body. Okay, once again, the unedited images can't be shown here on the tube, but I'm gonna do my best. The body is set on a clear blank white background that I still think is edited in. The photo this time is almost certainly taken from above, and the person is lying on a gurney, because that's the most convenient way and typical way to take corpse photos, like those you might expect to find before and after an autopsy. The head and subsequently the face are the only parts missing from this photo. I assume this is to prevent people from identifying who the body once belonged to and getting the authorities involved, although it is worth stating that I don't think the head was chopped off, because it doesn't seem that way because I can kind of see part of the neck. But once again, we're really dealing with some weirdos here, so who knows? Maybe brains are sold separately, guys. Much like the previous photos, does look entirely deprived of oxygen and blood, and to me seems very clearly to be that of a deceased woman. Also, there's just something to the way it's lying there completely motionless that, oh, it just creeps me out, man. Other than that, there's not much else to say about this photo. The images have only revealed so much to us though, and in terms of evidence, they're compelling, but it's not exactly the only place we can look, so let's go beyond them for a little bit more information. Each item in addition to a photo has a general description that gives pertinent information like race, male or female, which limit is, or this special section they labeled the vintage of the item, which is just the age of the specimen and is a really odd term to use because it's often the same word used to describe the age of a wine or other fermented beverage. For instance, the description of the breast reads as follows: single only, does not come in pairs, additional cost for match set, includes skin above and below the midline and axilla, including underlying muscle, may contain dye, biopsies, tumor. General information: dimensions 86 centimeters, guarantee 15 months, color white, origin Chile, vintage 1979. Comments: none. Not to make light of what is possibly one of the most disturbing things I've ever found online, but in what world does it make sense to only sell one at a time? I feel like that would make it much more difficult to sell, but then again, I've never bought human body parts online, only in person, so I don't really know what the customs are. The real kicker for me though are the reviews, which are beyond imagination weird. Here's a few to give you a taste. Maybe a bad choice of words. Dio8988 says about his finger purchase, and I quote, "a beautiful matched set with all joints intact." Wow. Over on the female arm page, Dr. Giggles, tell me that isn't a name that makes you want to vomit, writes the following: working elbows, only if you can cut away all the scar tissue. I was disappointed with this product as the patient had obviously had some trauma to the joint. Y Cuerpos, to their credit, sent me a new one. The final review we're going to read though today I think offers just a magnificent perspective on the wonderful customer service Y Cuerpos used to offer. Geo5GE says, good stuff, but it came with a shattered scaphoid and only a sliver of ulna. When I called though, they offered an immediate replacement and sent a pickup box full of dry ice the next morning. Quality service. Whew, this is a lot to handle, pun not intended. At this juncture though, we do know a fair amount about the website and have covered just about all the evidence it has to offer at face value. So now let's take a step back from the site itself and try and find some more corroborating evidence. Unsurprisingly, there are no news articles highlighting the website, but considering how weird this website is and how obscure it is, there are still a number of references online that we can use to get some more information about what people thought of this place and what might be going on. In addition to the one earlier, I found several others that include blog posts and forum discussions where people are talking about the site online, all of which were occurring while the site was still active, which is very interesting. However, it seems like none of these users took the time, to try and buy one of these things and prove whether or not this website was real or not. And as you may expect, the website itself can no longer be found live on the internet and has to be dredged from the depths of the Internet Archive. So we ourselves have no way of testing if this is real or not either. If you're unfamiliar with the Internet Archive though, they have a tool called the Wayback Machine that allows you to see old internet content in its original format throughout the years. And after inserting the link of the website you want to look at, one of the ways you can view the information is by pulling up what's called a site map of a specific website, which shows you all of the available links and places you can go on the website in question. Fortunately, in the case of Iquerapos, there are a variety of captures from the early 2000s, so we can get a good look at everything the website has to offer. But unlike any other site I've come across when using the Wayback Machine for these videos, the site map for Iquerapos is way bigger than the actual website itself, which is really off. Essentially what this means is that there are hidden links and pages in the Iquerapos website, and to a degree this could be a possibility and not totally abnormal, because perhaps there are sections of the site only visible to the owner or moderators, but in the case of Iquerapos.com, we're not just talking about a few hidden pages, there are dozens. Hovering over the site map, you can see what the links are titled without clicking them, and my goodness, is this mystery about to get even worse and even weirder. I hate to do it, but I think every word I'm about to say I'm going to have to blur out because of YouTube. There are 78 links, yes, I counted, placed in alphabetical order based on these single word titles within the URL. I'm not going to read them all, as you will soon see why, but there are a few you really do need to see. But first, remember, none of these are accessible on the actual website, so I'm not exactly sure how one gets to them and if there's some secret access key. The first link is simply entitled Amateur, which off the bat doesn't really mean anything crazy. The next is, oh no. All of these are disgusting in their own right, but there are a particularly notable few that somehow manage to stand out above the rest. There is an entire section dedicated to people's hacked webcams, and I tell you, these aren't even the worst on the website. One of these is for people who fall into the teenage category, meaning under the age, which is a whole nother can of worms that I don't think we're going to get into on YouTube. And I can't even believe I'm saying this, but when I found it, my jaw dropped. One of the hidden tabs on Iquerapos is simply entitled. I'm pretty much disgusted by what I found though at this point, and I refuse to click on any of the prawn links, but there were some of these links buried in there that were just like product sales or information tabs for this section of the website, and I accidentally clicked on one of those, but fortunately or unfortunately, it was an unsaved web page, meaning the Internet Archive couldn't access it either, which is why I think that there was possibly a secret entrance to this from the Iquerapos website. But once again, getting ahead of myself, we'll discuss the theories later. All this information from both the body website to the prawn website leave us with some pretty serious questions, but I think the most important one for us to understand to get a whole grasp on this is who runs this place, or really who ran it, I should say. Shocker, the answer is not as easy as reading a name on the front page. My first step to uncover the owner of this debaucherous site is to do a who is search. I was evidently naive enough to believe this would actually give me the name of the person, but it definitely did not. If you're unaware of what a who is search does, it's essentially just a way of finding out the information of the individual who registered a specific domain, which is the website address or name. Typically, you get a lot of information from these, almost always a name, but maybe even a phone number and email address, and if you're really lucky, the person's actual address in the real world. But in the case of Iquerapos, it's not that simple. Doing a who is reveals nothing except for that you can purchase the domain for $13. Yippee! So we have to dig a bit harder for this one. Iquerapos does a great job of just giving enough information to seem real, but not enough to let you know who's actually behind all of this. Which is why at first I thought it was going to be a very difficult problem to solve, finding any information that could reveal who's behind this place, except for one thing that I noticed. And it actually made this much more simple to continue onwards than I thought it would be. And that's the ads on the Iquerapos website. Thanks to the Wayback Machine, you can actually still access these ads, and one of them could be followed to its original site, which is still active today in 2025. The one that stood out to me most, that worked out, was an ad at the top of the page for a place named calresco.org that says it's developing the world artificial life research. Alluring, I must admit, and following the link, we step into another website worthy of a rabbit hole dive, but we don't have enough time for that here today. Without going super deep though, I can tell you that this website is chock full of a bunch of super in-depth medical and scientific information that suggests whoever owns and wrote this page knows exactly what they're talking about. I spent a solid 15-20 minutes here just reading, kind of in awe of the sheer information. But I got to thinking, someone with medical knowledge is exactly what would be necessary to run a business like Iquerapos successfully. And this was my goal in this whole endeavor to find correlated websites that could possibly share the same owner, whether admittedly or not, and then see what we can find information-wise from there. So I took this information from the CalResco site and then ran it through a whois checker, and lo and behold, I actually did get a result back. Most of the information was redacted, however, we were able to acquire some intel on who is the person running this CalResco website, and if they're possibly connected to Iquerapos. And you won't believe who it is behind all of this. Well, well, well. Drum roll, please. No one, or at least no one that we can ever know, because combing through the Who Is report, one thing becomes very clear. Whoever set this thing up did not want people to know who they were. The address given is not of a person, but rather a company. And when you look up the company address, you get the name Chevron Thailand Limited. This, however, is obviously not right because although we're clearly looking at an island here, this island is just 10,000 miles away from Thailand. Rather than being all the way over in Asia, as this business suggests by its name, we're actually on the island of New Providence in the capital city of Nassau in the Bahamas. So what we have here is a really weird and convoluted address that leads to an even more convoluted and illogical company name. Weird, right? But it gets stranger. I decided to actually dig into Chevron Thailand Limited and found there's more to this mystery than we originally suspected. The name Chevron is taken from the massive oil and gas company Chevron that does have a headquarters in Thailand, but shocker, it's not in the Bahamas, it's in Bangkok, Thailand. So what exactly is this company in the Bahamas then? Because it's not this Chevron they're acting like it is. Well, as far as I can tell, it's not actually a real company, at least not beyond a name. Despite searching for a considerable amount of time, the only information I can find about this company is false. It's this AI autofill slop with the information for the actual Chevron company filled in instead of for this one on the island, which I imagine was the desired outcome of whoever designed this whole website and set this whole scam up. Additionally, we don't even have a website for this company to look at, not even like a one that's just filled with stock photos. There's nothing. And in fact, when you dive a little bit further and you look at the address, you realize there's really no unit number on here. So I plugged it into Google Maps and the address lands us in the center of a street. Even weirder, the street is one of the only ones on the entire island that isn't available on Google Street View, and all the vantage points are too blurry to read the sign names to see if any of this is even real, if there's actually a business sitting there like it's supposed to be. So this is where we're forced to stop unless one of you guys lives in the Bahamas, because despite sifting through every related domain, they are all the exact same scenario where this registrant used a Who Is company for privacy, meaning they register on your behalf, and that address then leads to the address of the company or other completely random places, and we are forced to stop following the trail right there. The one other bit of information about this website though is that it's been around since 1998 when it was originally registered, and beyond that, nothing else. Although I do get the sneaking suspicion that based on the medical requirements for e-cuerpos and this weird website attached to it that was supposedly sponsoring the body dealing site, I do get the sneaking suspicion that perhaps the two are connected and maybe even began by the same owner, but I don't know. And until we know more, this is just going to be some truly insane stuff we're dealing with very few answers. Right off the bat, you guys, I'm going to come out and say it. In one way or another, these people somehow got real pictures of human bodies and then listed them for sale. That is what we know. Whether these bodies are dead and for sale, that is really the question, and if so, how did they get them? Comment below what you believe is most likely of the theories we're about to go through, and if you have any of your own, comment those down below as well. Theory number 1. These are real human remains and bodies being sold online that they took themselves, either from morgues or victims of their own. 2. These images are of real bodies, but they aren't dead and are instead taken from somewhere online, or perhaps the website owner has access to stolen autopsy photos. 3. These are all staged photos and the website is totally fake, meaning these are all volunteers. 4. The dead body site is fake and is used as a cover to hide the disturbing and illegal prawn hidden behind the website's outer facade. 5. It's a one-stop shop where you can buy dead bodies and watch utterly vile content all in one place. And the 6th and final theory that I came up with is that maybe this is a government honeypot where they staged the website to see if they could catch any weirdos trying to buy corpses and watch. Who knows? I don't know what is real though, you guys, but I'm about 55% confident though that these are genuine dead bodies and severed limbs we're seeing, but I still honestly have no idea what to make of this entire prawn angle about this website. But those are just my thoughts, you guys. Let me know yours down below. That being said, I really hope you guys enjoyed this video. It was utterly fascinating and felt great to dive into a deep topic for you guys, even if this one was really kind of dark in a lot of ways. That's been my biggest complaint though, my most recent videos, that I haven't been diving into stuff enough and have been too superficial with it. And that's something I want to take a moment to apologize to you guys for. I got caught up with school and work and with making sure you guys had longer videos, and I sacrificed the overall quality, and that's just not right. So moving forward, I'm going to make sure that every video I release is well researched and thoroughly explained, because I really do appreciate how much support you guys give me, and the fact that you're trusting me with this time of yours and willing to watch all my stuff. I wouldn't want you guys to feel like I'm shortchanging you or not giving you the best that I could, or even worse, not even getting the most out of the topics I'm telling you. That being said, I appreciate every single one of you guys, and I love making stuff for you. Now with that in mind, make sure to like, subscribe, follow me on Instagram, and join the Discord so you can be part of the giveaway. My girlfriend's making this incredibly awesome sweatshirt for one of you guys. It's so cool. I'm also gonna have a matching one. It's gonna be a great time, you guys. Definitely make sure to join the Discord and follow me on Instagram so you can be a part of the giveaway when it's ready. Whew, I'm out of breath. But as is tradition, guys, I just want to say thank you so much for watching, and I can't wait to see you in the next one.